it is important to say for this next bit as well, from speaking to people, Liverpool have been scouting a lot of players still, even after the summer window. But it's important to say scouting doesn't necessarily mean anything. There's still a multitude of steps to go from there, as we know how Liverpool's recruitment works, that if a player is identified, they will be scouted. Then the information will be given back to the relevant suits, if you want to call it that we looked at again. Then the likes of Hughes Edwards would watch videotape, do all the references before they decided to make a move. So when you hear the phrase scouted, it's interesting that quite often it can be true, but there's a lot of steps before then for Liverpool to make a move for a player. But it is interesting that checking around, Liverpool are doing a raft of scouting, it's fair to say, on certain players. So you may have seen some of these, but naturally we're trying to check them out at Anfield Index at the same time. The first one, Ivory Coast, Wilfried Singo joined Galatasaray for 26.4 million quid in the summer. And yeah, as it says there, Liverpool had scouts present for Galatasaray's 3-0 win over Ajax in the Champions League. Yeah, doing a bit of digging, this is one of the players that Liverpool have been scouting. Again, doesn't mean necessarily anything will happen, but me and Bart's will be looking at him and transfer market metrics. The bit of it, and listen, I can't pretend I've got different bits or say I watched the Turkish league inside out. That would be an absolute lie. But the big bits we've got on this from doing a bit of digging is can play centre back, can play right back, very physical, good in the air, very much a defensive nature. So if he was to be a full back, it wouldn't be a Connor Bradley type or a Jeremy Frimpong. But as you can see there, because he's got two profiles on FBref, centre-back and full-back, and if you flip into his full-back, 99th percentile for interceptions, clearances, and aerial one. It's the strong defensive element, although good pass completion at the same time as well. So the bit we honestly got on this was if Liverpool are looking or were to make a move for Singo at all, almost similar to the suggestion was to us, the way Arne Slot set it up at Feyenoord. If you remember, it would have a back four, but Gertrude would almost become inverted or make it a back three at times. That Singo could be a similar player. Again, I'm not going to lie, that's info we've got. I'm not going to say we've watched him repeatedly, or I have individually, but Liverpool, our info is, have been scouting that player. But again, the steps to it. Maybe one that might get a few more excited. Digging on this, Liverpool have scouted this player a number of times now and recently as well. As the reports are coming from Ecuador, Liverpool want to sign Club Brugge defender, I might butcher his name here, Joel Ordonez. The Reds would make an offer of more than 35 million to secure his signature. Now, again, info for this, and that's why I wanted to try and phrase it differently. Yeah, Liverpool have scouted him, but our info is very recently. That's been a continued scouting process for that 21-year-old as well, who I know is popular with a number of Liverpool fans, especially on the basis of, good pass completion, progression, quick, decent in the air, it's fair to say. You've also probably clicked him in the Champions League at the same time as well, doing very well for Club Brugge at the same time. Young, if it is around the 35 million, as a lot of people have referenced, well, you're going to put that money on Gay, weren't we, as well? So that's a smart move there. And I could understand it. I could genuinely understand that at the same time as well. As we said, all we've got at Anfield Index is that Liverpool have looked at this player, scouted him a number of times now, and very recently as well. So it will be interesting to see if anything happens, we say, in January with that player. I know that will be a popular move for a lot of fans. In terms of other centre-halves, you've probably seen him. Now, this is one we've talked about, so it's nothing brand new before. Liverpool are 100% keen on Nico Schlotterbeck. That's the same briefing in Germany and the UK that we're getting as well. The big thing about Schlotterbeck right now is it seems all the indications are, and we spoke to a few Bundesliga journals, you probably work it out because they've been on our shows before as well, but saying that all the noises from Germany are that Schlotterbeck isn't keen, isn't looking at signing a new deal with Dortmund, mainly because he also knows who's interested in him, especially Bayern Munich and ourselves at the same time as well. Now, that'll prompt mixed reaction from some, because some will look and say, yeah, look at his aerial stats, his progression, left-footed, all the various things that I'm sure you would see make Schlotterbeck a tick in the box. Others will counter with, Lord, on left-footed, Virgil plays on that side, not the one for me. Injury record at the same time as well. The big thing that we've got from the Bundesliga sign as well, is it's almost a weird little triangle at the moment as in terms of who might be looking, because Bayern Munich are interested in Schlotterbeck, but there's that question mark around Dayot Upamecano, isn't he? And will he renew? So that's connected there. And, German journalists were telling us that if Upamecano does renew, that probably reduces the chances of Schlotterbeck getting a deal he'd be looking for. And he is a German international. He's got pedigree as well. All the suggestions are that, we've been told he's looking for, as you understand, good money. Because when you've got a year left to go in the summer, when you've got the pedigree he's got, maybe if he has a good World Cup as well, that can increase his chances of upping those wage negotiations, shall we say. But Liverpool are very interested in Nico Schlotterbeck, is our info. But again, it's important to say, chances, and it's unanimous across the board we're getting, chances in January, minimal, pretty much non-existent, because it is World Cup year. Nico Schlotterbeck is not going to be looking to move in January when it's World Cup year, isn't he? Got better options if he waits till the summer, and it's probably better for his football that way. This one is, I don't know if this is, people say fact, people say fiction, dream, reality. I think there is a bit of dreaming here, but you've probably seen this one as well. Liverpool have been told that Alessandro Bastoni could be ready to move in 2026. Now, there's a couple of things on this. Number one, you can make your own judgment on the source. I'm not going to cast any aspersions. You can decide on that. The second thing to say is we mentioned this again in the summer on the transfer show, that since he's come back, Richard Hughes, let me phrase that a different way. Richard Hughes is a massive admirer of Bastoni. However, from initial, chats in the summer, Bastoni's camp, as we said, have made it clear that they wanted to stay in Italy. They weren't tempted by that move to the Premier League at all. That was where the player wanted to play. So if that is to change, it's not going to change before the summer, isn't it? And, World Cup year, of course, that's not going to be in January at all. But how much would it be to get Bastoni to Anfield? A king's ransom. And do we honestly think we would be the only ones in for Bastoni? I think this is just starting to drift into a dream. But we had dreams in the summer and some became a reality. Maybe not the reality we wanted, so we'll see if anything develops on that. Now, in terms of probably the most exciting bit we've got in the transfer show, this is it. A player Liverpool are having a serious look at. And I've seen this player a few times. Just in case this does go dead on the audio bit, we've been copyrighted, but it's just a bit sexy. So let's just have a look at 10 seconds or so of a player doing his thing. We'll cut that before we get in any more trouble. But I'm probably pronouncing his name completely wrong. So, people can pick me up on that. But Bouaddi, Lille midfielder, now Moroccan born, but declared for France as well, hasn't he? Very young, 18 years old. Now, it's important to say in this, when doing a bit of digging, that Liverpool have scouted this player a number of times. And our info is that Liverpool have spoken to Bouaddi and Lille about Bouaddi himself a number of times. That's our info. So a bit stronger than anyone else. Now, in terms of the way we operate and looking for a bargain, in the summer, he'll only have 1 year left to go on his deal. And other clubs that have watched this player in the Premier League, AC Milan, have apparently expressed their interest as well. And our info is that actually, if it was to be a January move, Lille would deal at around 55 million euros, which translates to about, 48 million quid, I think it does, doesn't it? You'll want an aggressive midfielder in there, don't you? You all want more legs, one who thinks defensively, first of all. I mean, just from the bits I've seen, there's a lot to like. A decent passer. I'd say decent. Not got a ping on him like many of the others, but a solid passer. But, can carry the ball there. 96 for successful take-ons. But it's the aggression to his game, isn't it? 75th percentile for tackles, as you saw in that footage. 80th percentile for blocks as well. Now, again, it could be one where you're kind of thinking, now, is he ready for now? 18 years old, but he's only 18. Played a lot of minutes for Lille in the Ligue 1, bits in the Europa as well so far this season. Could he be one Liverpool look to in the midfield early, or might they just wait till the summer? But that's probably important to say. Our info is that Liverpool have scouted heavily Bouaddi at Lille and have spoken to the players' camp and his club, and that with a year left to go in the summer, Liverpool are well aware of the fee, around 55 million euros, it would take to bring him to Anfield. Will they do it? Don't know. That is probably a different question altogether. In terms of the hottest rumour around a player, though, I bet you've all clocked this. Indy has now retweeted this, the GOAT, 4 separate times since he put it out. Look at that, November the 11th, yesterday, 1.1 million views. Antoine Semenyo has asked to leave Bournemouth in January. He's retweeted that 4 times. Now, also, Indy, in the last week, you probably saw that one as well, that Liverpool have submitted a £65 million offer to sign Semenyo from Bournemouth, and the player wants the move. Indy is going proper hard on this one, isn't he? He tweeted, if you look at those 2 tweets individually, he's retweeted them 7 times now. Semenyo, really, I think the fan base is mixed on this one, because in terms of positives, the physical gifts are astounding. The pace he could bring and the physical gifts to our front line, across the front line, could play left, right, potentially even in the middle in situations. Ticking the box there. Is in hot form, you could say, right now, although some will see, is that patchy, streaky play? Always look at the underlying stats rather than when they got the hot hand. But he'd do a job for us. He would just give us something that we don't have, as in that searing pace in the front line as well. So that would be a positive. On the other side, as we mentioned before, talk that he does have a clause in his contract, but it's actually, our info is at Anfield Index for the summer. But if the player does want the move, that will strengthen Liverpool's hand. But are Liverpool in? And listen, I'm not going to throw any shade against the GOAT himself, Indy Callier, but genuinely not getting anything apart from what Indy's saying, that Semenyo is, and important to phrase it this way, is of interest for January for Liverpool. If he is, it's right to ask a few question marks, because as we said on the transfer show in the summer, they had a good look at him and decided against it when they were, planning all the summer and giving Ione a pathway, and he said Rion Gamoa a pathway and all those types of things. So does it show, if it is serious, it does happen, would it be almost, I don't know, an admission that we got it wrong in the summer? Although maybe with the profile, and a lot of people are saying that already. What do you reckon, though? Would you want Antoine Semenyo in January. It's important to say, I do think he could improve us, but in terms of priority, it's about fourth or fifth on the list for me, realistically. It's one of those ones where you're saying you're putting a conservatory on the back of the house when there's holes in the roof. We need defenders, first of all, don't we? We need progressive defenders at the same time as well. We need a bit of physicality in the middle. Is Semenyo top of the list? And yet you'd probably all be a little bit excited like me, wouldn't you, if it did happen in January? So we'll have to see. But the GOAT is going hard on that. We'll see if anything else develops. In terms of other January news, because honestly, I've seen other people mentioning this as their exclusive and different bits. Look at that. 1 month ago, we had this, saying that Liverpool had spoken to the camps of Ousmane Diomande at Sporting and Jan-Paul van Hecke at Brighton. And you will decide whether you like those players. Different types, aren't they? Diomande played in the back three, back four, very good on the ball, great recovery pace. People will quote, AFCON, so I don't, I'm not sure it's wise to buy him right now. It could be a summer move. Who knows? Van Hecke, that's maybe an interesting one, isn't it? Although I know some are against his defensive skills. But in terms of an actual progressive defender, you're putting him right at the top there, aren't you? Funny. YNWAX times 20, they're saying wanting a centre-back, DM, right-back, and then a left winger, which probably puts Semenyo about fourth or fifth, doesn't it, realistically, in terms of the priorities. But Indy will not stop retweeting it, will he? So there we go, people. Genuinely, there's a long way till January, but anyone who doesn't believe Liverpool are looking at their options now, come on. Do we think they'll do anything? The market is against them. But they are looking. There's things to resolve, isn't there? Canate, I know people are getting popular or getting excited. He might renew from France, but genuinely, again, important to say, nothing on the UK side. It does look like Harvey Elliott's coming back in January. It does look like, for all intents and purposes, we're in Andy Robertson's final year at the club. As we've been told by numerous people, Liverpool have been scouting, but scouting to buying, there's a fair few steps in between at the same time. But as we said there, our info is Liverpool have been looking at Joel Ordonez at Bruges, if I'm pronouncing that rightly, and more importantly, have been looking heavily and spoken to Lille about the young midfielder Bouaddi, who will have a year left to go in the summer as well. You can make your mind up as to whether you think they're good players. You can make your mind up, as Indy keeps retweeting about Semenyo, whether you think that's a good move or not. As Chris Murray says there, we have two key priorities, which is the general sentiment, isn't it? I'm not sure Semenyo is top of anyone's list. But there we go, ladies and gents. Those are the bits we have. Christ, the year's moving quick, isn't it? It's November already. The fixtures come fast after the international break, all the way up to that favourable run of Christmas. And then the January talk will be in full swing, won't it? But on Wednesday, the 12th of November, that was a transfer special for Anfield Index.